The biggest problems I see within the high school and sometimes even within the college game is the idolization of the pure point guard. Too many times we reference Chris Paul when we talk about point guards, or we talk about Magic Johnson, guys who had extremely high assist numbers, guys that managed the team. But what we don't talk about enough is their ability to score, because in high school, in a lot of cases college, they were scoring, and a lot of times they were either the best scorer on their college team, or maybe even the second best scorer on their team. They're guys who were able to be aggressive, guys who had the skills to put pressure on defenses, and no other time has the pure point guard diminished as hard as it has today. You have to be able to score. So let's look at a couple of examples of guys who you might not think were scoring in high school, but were absolutely getting buckets. So first, obviously, we have Chris Paul. Over his career, Chris Paul averaged 15 points and 6 assists a game in 2 years at Wake Forest, playing in the ACC. And if you know anything about college basketball, you know 15 points a game is a lot of points at this time. So even the point guard, a guy who's seen as a true point guard that makes his team better, was able to score really efficiently in college and even in high school. Everybody knows that Chris Paul was able to score 61 after his grandfather died, but what you don't know is that Chris Paul was absolutely a bucket in high school, averaging 25 his junior year, and he averaged over 30 his senior year. So he was a guy who was really able to score in a multitude of ways. He was a guy who was the best scorer on his team by far, and it all started since high school. So your idea of what a true point guard is, especially in high school, will get you in a situation you become heartbroken when it's time to actually make money off of your high school and college career. So what I always tell guys is make sure you're able to score, that you're prioritizing shooting, that you're doing other things to build your game up as well. Don't let a high school or a college coach use you to build his other players up, or use this myth to control your game. Next in line for the pure point guard conversation is Tyrese Haliburton. And if you look at Tyrese Haliburton's game in the NBA, he's averaging over 20 points this year, and I believe he did so last year. But if you look back further in his career, you see that this guy was scoring at an extremely high level since pretty much his sophomore year of high school. In high school, Tyrese Haliburton averaged over 22 points a game, also gave you 6 assists, was the Gatorade Player of the Year, because he wasn't just passing. He was scoring, he was putting pressure on the defenses, and he was working on things that would translate to the higher levels, right? So he was able to shoot the ball extremely well. He shot it at range. He was a 4-level scorer. These things help your game translate to the higher level, because it's really hard to get assists in the NBA if you cannot put pressure on a team. And if you really look into his stats, you see that he was scoring 15 points a game before he got drafted to the NBA. So his ability to score was always there. He was able to get downhill, finish in a different ways. He put pressure on the rim. He was always in aggressive mode. He was shooting the ball extremely well, playing on and off the ball. And these are all things that are really important for a pro game, especially if you're looking to be a primary ball handler, a person that's create a lot of offense. You need to be a guy who can score the ball, they can give you the ball, and you can just go. And a lot of people have the overseas game really confused. If you are an import, you're expected to be able to not just pass the ball. You're expected to score. You're expected to impact the game at all levels and score even in isolation opportunities. They pay special taxes for you just so you could get there. So you have to make sure you're absolutely dominant. TJ McConnell is a second or third string point guard for most of his career. He's been really good. He's been really steady as a point guard. He's only 6 foot tall. And a lot of times when you're small, they always throw the title pure. You have to be a pure point guard. You can't really score. That's what they tell the high school guards. But even a guy like him was a bucket in high school. He averaged a lot of points. Now in college, it was a little different from him. He played for the Ohio State. He had to play a role, and he was on a really good team. So if you're on a really good team, if those points drop off, people understand that you're just playing on such a good team that it's hard for you to score the way that you want to. But when he wasn't playing on one of the, nation's top teams, he was in high school averaging 34 points, 9 assists, and 8 rebounds a game. So guys, I'm telling you, you have to be able to score the ball, and the smaller you are, the more you better be able to score or just really defend at a high level. But if you're a high school player, make sure you're working on scoring. It's important. This isn't the 1960s anymore. You have to do more than run an offense.